ending our speakers program with a talk not on endings, but on beginnings. He has noticed an uncanny trend in our club in the past few months. Not yet. Along with more than a few others in this room, he feels the need to reintroduce the value of this indispensable apparatus with a speech titled Introductions, a very necessary tool. Please welcome Class Club President, two-time Lamplighter Award recipient, distinguished Toastmaster Carmelo Gallardo III. Toastmaster Roy Scherer. You're up. You want to get a speech? Your intro comes after your speech.
Do it again? It's a reverse meeting.
Oh, your reverse meeting.
You want me to do it again?
No, I want you to give your speech.
Wow. Professor Dr. Chris Everett and my fiance. Dr. Professor, Herr Professor Novinsky is finally dead. I didn't think I would be here today, Dr. Scherer, to give this talk, because Novinsky had a gun, a .45 pointed right at my heart. And I thought, and he said, Dr. Scherer, it's so nice to meet you again. Unfortunately, under these circumstances, you are not going to be on this planet much longer. And he drew his gun, and at that moment, a shot rang out, cutting a perfect circle from a small caliber Beretta gun right in the middle of his forehead. And a drip of blood came out, and then he hit the floor dead. Hence, one of the greatest monsters in history, a serious one, by the way, was dead. Was dead. Was dead. He was responsible for the death of hundreds of thousands of people. So I could go to my grave feeling I made one contribution to this world. Novinsky had worked in viral research for years and years. He left government service about 12 years before he developed his horrible scheme, which took out hundreds of thousands in the population. I was, and still am, the head professor of the virology, right? Department at the Shands Hospital. And my trained assistant and fellow researcher and fiance, I love taking breaks during the research, is we had no clue. We had no clue how we were doing it. There were Nobel Prize winner researchers along with myself. I won the Nobel Prize in medical research in 2020, but I had no clue how this was being perpetrated. And neither did my learned assistant. It was incredibly complex, and of course that's the business we're in. It wasn't until I did something, actually I hired one of my graduate students, two of them, they'll do whatever you tell them, to break into Novinsky's laboratory. There had to be something going on. There was too much of a coincidence. COVID virus number 30 had broken out around the world. And it was dead, it was lethal, 3 days ago gone. And then 2 months later, or 6 months, it was incredible. Novinsky Pharmaceutical developed a vaccine, an antidote, and if taken upon first symptoms, will completely cure you. That couldn't have happened. It couldn't have been so quickly when all the other researchers were desperately looking for an answer. And also mysteriously, it was killing people around the world, but very few in the United States. Mystifying. Wouldn't you agree? Would you agree?
Yes.
Mystifying. Yeah, mystifying.
Mystifying.
Yeah, they're mystifying. They're agreeing. Good. And then my brilliant fiance, keen researcher, once we had the graduate student brought back materials from his lab, medicines, tablets, and so on. He had a worldwide pharmaceutical company sending pharmaceuticals around the world. So, Dr. Everett, we were working way into the night. She screamed from her laboratory area and says, I think I have it, I think I have it. I know how he's doing it. And I came back and I said, what have you found? She said, it's in the samples. It's in the samples that the graduate students brought back to us. I said, what's in it? She said, a dormant virus. It's a dormant virus. A dormant COVID-30 that he has implanted into the pharmaceuticals that are being shipped overseas, meaning that once someone takes a tablet, they're already infected with the virus. Talk about a way of developing prospects. That's incredible, are you sure? I'm sure, and then she showed me the evidence. And then we also realized, of course, that he had not only engineered the COVID-30, but he'd also engineered the vaccine. So the match worked perfectly. Nobody else had a clue about it. Novinsky Pharmaceutical was bringing in billions of dollars a week. Round the world sales. Around the world sales. Billions of dollars. I grew up having a rather strange hobby. As a young kid, I was very interested in viruses. I studied them from the time I was 6 years old. Particularly the pandemics, the smallpox, for example, polio, and now COVID. Fascinated. Got my undergraduate at Princeton, my doctorate at Harvard, and now, as I said earlier, I'm a professor emeritus at Chance Hospital. I have to, again, credit my brilliant partner. It was an incredible journey. I can go to my grave happy, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, that I had a part in solving this mystery. And it seemed like from the time I was a boy, I was destined to do this. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests.